Recording is active.
Oh, well. So, last session is pretty fresh in our minds, I'm pretty certain. It was only a week or two back. It'll give us a brief recap. After the events of the 202 station battle and destroying that cloning facility, the party, Zacharias, as well as the Lord Francis Smith, captain of the Tempestborn, spent several days searching the asteroid field in order to root out any potential further installations. And during this time, the party capitalized on their patron's moment of weakness and invaded its dreams, gaining some insight into its inner workings. Let's get some music real quick.
We learn a lot of scary things about that.
You learned a lot of scary things, including exactly what is going on with Dr. Ivanosk, her origins, as well as just a bit of behind the curtains for what exactly this thing is.
Last session was the PTSD session.
It was the PTSD session. And I believe where we ended off that session, our party had just kind of responded to Jaira's necrotic injury, and we're going up to check on Carthan. So, who currently is in this group that's going to check on Karth?
Last session, I was still up in the med bay, so dealing with Mr. Impaled.
Dealing with Vlad. Vlad the Impaled.
Yeah. Fucking, fucking comet.
I guess I could be in part of the group. I was the one who saw that Jaira was bleeding out of her eye sockets, so
Awesome.
being that Carthan was the other guy to go in, I guess I should be adequately concerned to some degree.
Alright, so it's Ankos and who else?
Make me available, I can be there.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just... If nobody immediately tags along, as soon as I set Jaira down on the fucking hospital table, I'm just gonna go.
Alright, fair enough. You go ahead and make your way out. So, again, the way that this dropship is kind of constructed, the medbay is basically this very, very small section. It's not even a real medbay, let's be honest. It is essentially just kind of like an operating room.
It's a fucking doctor's office.
It's basically a doctor's office. It does not have proper medical equipment there. It is essentially just a place that you keep your medicinal tools and a place that Timothy can kind of keep sterile as much as possible. That being said, you proceed back into the hangar bay of the dropship and make your way over to the stairwell that leads up to the crew quarters. You make your way up there, you head into the living section, pass by all of the different tables, the kitchen, and go back into the rooms. You find Carthan's room.
If the door's open, I'm just gonna poke my head straight in, basically, and go, hey, you need to give you a checkup, and if the door's closed, I'm gonna start pounding on it.
Yeah, so, Carthan, from the inside of this place, you are essentially... How does he deal with feeling extremely nauseous to the point of vomiting?
I imagine at this point, Carthan is laid kind of diagonally across the room. um, like away from the door, like he fell down after the door was closed.
Nice.
And so he's like laying with like one arm propped up. But otherwise, not great.
So
The door is closed but unlocked.
I imagine that you are kind of just struggling there to keep your insides inside.
Yeah.
You just suddenly start hearing loud pounding, just on the solid metal door of your room.
Come in.
I'm gonna open the door, and then seeing you like sprawled across the floor in a very shit. So I'm just gonna go. God damn it! This is exactly what I was afraid of. I'm gonna go ahead and just try to like assist you up, and I'm gonna say we're taking you to the med bay. The Jair is having blowback from your little dive, and it looks like you are too.
Can you make a fortitude save for me, Carthen?
I sure can. That's a 25.
When Angos picks you up by your shoulder and tries to go to be like your support, it's like a wave that hits you. And Ankos, you just see this giant fucking demon man just start going.
If there is a bucket,
he's just barely keeping it down.
Is there a trash can or a bucket in this room?
In these sections, no. You all have a communal bathroom, unfortunately. As for trash cans, that's up to you. Do you keep it, like, kind of cluttered, or are you aesthetic? Are you kind of like a... You know,
I'd imagine that if there was one, like, in the room, that there would still be one there. But otherwise...
there is not one, because the way that these ships work, especially ones that transition to zero-G without any kind of like permanent artificial gravity, and the dropship does have artificial gravity, but it goes out during certain periods such as like combat maneuvers or transitioning from the orbital stage. Having an open trash can
Would be a
shit
bad
fly
idea.
about. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. Either way, as seeing the retching, I'm just gonna get under your arm and try and pick you up. Not like off the ground, just assisted walk, and say you need to hold that in as best you can until you can get down there. I'm not trying to clean up a mess. And I will make an athletics roll to see how much help I can actually be in carrying you. Here's one of my worst fucking skills. 20. That's actually not bad.
So, you straight up like you're not a very strong man. But
I am 5'4" and I have 10 strength. Carthen is like a foot taller than me and like twice as wide.
You actually know how to apply yourself in such a way that it reduces the resistance that you're having to like pick up and support. And Carthen kind of helps in where you're lacking in any case. So, the both of you start skimping down to the med bay. Do you say anything, or is it just a silent journey?
I'm just gonna be kind of, like, occasionally just checking in with you, asking, are you okay? Do you need to rest?
And Carthen will be in one of those, like wall-eyed vomit prevention moments.
Yeah.
You know, where he's just like slightly nodding a little bit whenever kind of prompted, but otherwise just focused on not losing like everything in his stomach.
Yep, understandable. Let's keep going.
You have to curse existence itself whenever you reach the stairs and realize that like each step just makes it's just awful.
Yeah.
But by the time that you were at the bottom and you reach Timothy's small cubicle, Tim Tom, I imagine that you are still working with your operating theater behind the closed curtain, trying to keep this dude from declining any further.
And I imagine, like, he's looking at Jaira with, like, a flashlight in her eyes, going, huh, boy, there's a lot of burst blood vessels in there.
As we
Were you exposed to the vacuum?
As we like get into the med bay, I'm gonna like point at the sink and and one of the beds, and I'm gonna go, which one do you want to be at right now?
Can Tim Tom quickly look at him and realize that he's about to blow chunks?
Yeah. It's not hard to pick up on.
As soon as Tim Tom sees that, Tim Tom just steps over, grabs a little blue bag with a little plastic circlet on the top, whips it out, and just puts it up to his hand. In that, not in the sink. I'm not cleaning up your mess.
Jesus, doctor.
Just gave him a vomit bag.
Yeah.
Airports and airplanes and shit.
Yeah, Carthen is going to lose all of his dignity and vomit into this bag over a sink.
It is...
Tim Tom gently pats Carthen's back. There. You'll be fine.
Time for the description of the void, Puke.
Yeah, talk to me about it, Levi.
It is wretched. It comes up in almost what feels like bloody phlegm, like it's coagulated in certain sections. It is just a black, like, chunky mess that just goes right into the bag. And once you've excised it, you look down and realize, like, what even was that?
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Mr. Carthen, that's not. That's.
Yeah, as for
What
the
did you
taste,
guys do? What did you two
do?
do?
It is acrid, irony, and just like this weird, oily sensation. It lingers.
Oh, I hate that.
Tim Tom's just gonna give Carthen some anti-nausea medication and a
Please.
glass of water.
This is like the kind of puke that you get after eating nothing but Taco Bell and bottom shelf vodka for an entire day.
Oh God! Don't ever. I know that sensation. Stop, Mr. Carthen. Please sip that. Don't chug that. Tim Tom grabs the bag, ties it off. What did you eat? That's not natural.
Doctor, surely you're aware of what these two did. You were there for this.
No, I wasn't. I was in the med bay all last session.
He was.
Oh.
Yes, he was.
You know what? You know what? Maybe you're better off not knowing.
Tim Tom just goes back over. He's like, Mr. Carthen, please sit over there. And he grabs another vomit bag and hands it over to you. And just, please just sit down over there. I will get to you when I am done.
Carthen is hollow at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to sit there in a cold sweat, like limply holding this plastic bag.
Good God.
He's a defeated man.
I mean, you've been through some shit injury-wise recently over the past few days that, like, this might have just been, like, the candle on top.
Okay, listen, the sensation of his limbs dissolving from the dream earlier, then this, no. He's had it.
He is not fine. So, Timothy, who are you treating first?
Well, at this point, I'm going to try to figure out which one's in more dire straits, because Timothy's going to work on that one first. If not that, if either of them look like they'll survive, he'll just work on them from order in which they came
Lane,
in.
are you here?
I am here.
So, Timothy, you do notice, like, between these two, Jaira looks like she is frailer than Carthen, and while he did just, exorcise a demon, he seems fine, like, for just right now. Jaira, however, looks kind of, like, pale and fainty. That dust tone is becoming almost like a kind of gray.
Cool. Tim Tom will hook her up to an IV, make her help feel better, and try to figure out why she is bleeding from her. It's just her eyes where she's bleeding, right? Or is she bleeding from, like, eyes, nose,
I don't know,
ears?
give me a medicine check.
26.
So, I will go ahead and treat this as your treat deadly wounds. What medicinal tools are you using right now?
I don't know what all we have in here.
Let me look at
know-
your inventory. Like I said, this is a place to keep, like, your excess inventory.
Okay, because, like, right now I got,
You have a micro lab medkit.
database, micro lab, med
Yeah, you have your custom micro lab medkit, so the DC is 25. You beat it, so not only do you identify exactly kind of what's going on, you also help to treat it. So let's go in to medicine. You will give her back 5 HP.
She is very unconscious right now.
Alright, so in terms of
out.
in terms of actual damage, it is essentially a rupturing of soft tissue linings, and the black liquid is what almost appears to be decaying blood.
Okay. There's
Like, these cell linings have burst and ruptured, and it looks like just It honestly looks like an advanced form of necrosis has just like set in for that particular liquid. It's kind of spread into the soft tissues and needs immediate treatment.
Cool. She's gonna get a nice stick with an antibiotic then.
Not only that, but probably a blood transfusion.
Yeah, probably.
Needs liquids, needs antibiotics, needs a variety of medical equipment to treat what is essentially the death of body tissue.
Does this look like something that would be caused from radiation?
No. See, if it were radiation, there would be a lot more evidence towards it being that. It would show signs of it being that. But with, like, it's not necessarily... It's not like a radiation burn. It is essentially
I'm saying,
as
like,
if
not necessarily a radiation burn, but, like, later stages of, like, radiation poisoning is, like, the cells in your body straight up just breaking down and
if anything,
dissolving.
A regular doctor would perhaps misdiagnose it as that, some kind of, like, light onset of radiation poisoning. However, this just appears to be, like, spontaneous necrosis.
Cool.
It's not as terrible as, like, full-blown, where it would be, like, actually forcing you to amputate limbs. This is just, like, essentially portions of their cells are just up and dying. Regardless.
This was also-
Tom's gonna lay Jaira down, make sure she got, you know, the various hoses and tubes she needs put in her, and then he's gonna get like a warm towel and just gently put it over her eyes. Just there. That'll help.
As for Timothy, by the way, that would have taken 1 minute.
Okay.
So,
Looks
Timothy,
over to-
what do you do to Carthan?
Timothy walks over to him and goes, when Timothy looks at the bag of vomit, does it look like it is a lot of blood in his vomit?
With a carefully trained eye, if you are trying to identify the mixture, you do come to the conclusion that it is essentially the contents of his stomach, as well as a good portion of blood that is decaying similar to how Jaira was. With the enzymes fighting to break down the clumps and the coagulation.
Tim Tom looks at that. Looks over at Carthan. You know what an endoscope is?
Don't you dare.
Upon the mentioning of the word endoscope, I have been leaning on the fucking...
It's a tube that goes down the throat. The tube that goes down the throat.
That is an endoscope.
Upon hearing these fucking words, I'm just going to stop leaning against the wall and I'm going to leave the room.
That is a lot of blood in your vomit, and I need to make sure that you don't have ulcers that are deteriorating and rotting, and I know it's not fun. Oh my god, who the fuck is knocking at my door?
Well, if that takes too long, we'll just move on. Okay, so tell you what I am going to do. I am going to make...
I had someone knock on my door.
Fair enough. So go ahead and make me a medicine check.
15,
now, for
fuck
this
my
one,
life.
you would get a +2 bonus, but it doesn't quite matter since you already identified and treated Jaira's condition. While you are trying to get the endoscope set up, it results in complications. Carthan, you are used to magical or magitechnological medicinal treatment, so somebody trying to shove a tube down your throat is very uncomfortable.
Well,
Yes. I imagine that Timothy sees violence briefly in Carthan's eyes.
It is kind of like a violent struggle, because now he is trying to basically vomit up a piece of, like, fucking rubber tubing. That being said,
Mr. Carthan, and he just stops, looks at him. Mr. Carthan, the less you struggle, the easier it's gonna be, and the faster we're done. There. I'm glad you understand. Pats him on top of the head and continues on.
Now, I will say, because of the nature of this just situation, Carthan will take 1 point of damage, just because of the struggle in a very vulnerable area.
Mm.
Do you want to try the medicinal check again, Timothy?
Sure, here's hoping I don't fuck it up. 24.
24. Just don't get it by 1.
Fuck!
What about the +2?
Yeah, what about the plus
yeah,
two?
the +2. Forgive me. No. It is a
Damn it.
26. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot about the +2.
Tim Tom was about to get a fucking Kanobo made
I
of
was
light across
wanting
the
more
chin.
slapstick. Damn.
Yeah, okay. So what ends up happening is you manage to get Carthan into more of a stable state, maybe issue him some kind of, I don't know, relaxant. Regardless, you manage to identify, and it is similar to Jairo's condition. You treat it, and Carthan regains 5 hit points and goes up to 14 HP. So, that being said, these two, you are not too terribly concerned that their conditions will deteriorate. Carthan does have stomach ulcers. They result from the same soft tissue breakdown that Jairo was suffering from. You have to issue a proton pump inhibitor and, of course, the same treatments that Jairo were put on. Now,
I just pop it out, hand him a small little bag of medication.
I imagine Carthan like snatches like the corner of it out of his hand, kind of rubbing at his throat still.
God.
Medicine's not fun. It goes over, you hear some glass moving about. You hear the sound of a jar being opened up. He comes back and hands you a lollipop.
Now, that being said, Timothy, just so that you are not forgetting this, you
What, the
do
fact
recall.
that I'm charmed?
No, not that you're charmed. You do recall that the party did pick up augmentations. Specifically, I think it was a cybernetic augmentation that is yet to be installed.
Okay.
So just keeping that in mind. I believe
Tim
Ankos
Thompson.
is currently in possession of it.
It is biosynthetic nanites. Yes, they're sitting like in a drawer in my bunk right now.
Well, Tim Tom, I don't think Tim Tom knows about those yet. He could install them, but
You all went onto the place together, and you recovered
that's
that
right.
stuff together.
yeah. Well,
I think Timothy was the one that went into the shit
bay.
and like searched with Ankos.
yeah.
So you know
he
about
would know
them.
about it. Well, I mean, if Ankos wants to keep it, until Ankos brings it up and says, "Hey, who are we giving this to?"
All right, fair
Realistically, Ankos would have forgotten about this by now, but I'm just going to go ahead and ride your telepathic wave here and totally not metagame, and I'm going to think, oh, I have something that could help these two not suffer so much.
I will
So I'm gonna-
say, yeah, because of the situation, because you're taking people to the med bay, it like hits something in your mind. You have 16 wisdom. You're reminded of it.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go up to my room, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this and bring it down. Also, I don't have 16 wisdom, I have 18.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna
he's
go.
a
I'm gonna go
wise
upstairs.
man.
I'm gonna go upstairs, grab it. And the next thing you're gonna notice is the doors opening up while I carry some some piece of metal and wires and go. You probably can figure out what this is. Hook them up if it'll help them. And the item exactly is a biosynthetic nanites Mark 1.
Tim Tom will look it over and, I mean,
So,
You want
to
me
give
to
you
install this on someone, or
to give you the breakdown on this, if you want to identify and properly figure out the procedure to install this, I would need a medicine check just to do that. The operation will be a completely different thing. 26, amazing. So, you look at these vials that Angos has gathered and collected. They are a solution, like it says on the tin, biosynthetic nanites, and they have to be administered via injection. Once they're in, they can only be removed with a specific, medicinal treatment that involves the use of chemicals. That being said, what they do is they essentially allow a person to rapidly accelerate their body's healing procedures, just basically causing them to burn through energy and re-knit wounded flesh. And there's also variable levels to this. So they're capable of doing it extremely quickly, and they're capable of doing it over a medium pace. Still extremely rapid, but not expending as much.
Tim Tom will relay this information and just go. How much of it is it just enough for one person?
It is enough doses for one person.
Okay, so Tim Tom just looks around and is like, so who are we giving this to? Are we giving this to Mr. Carthen? Or are you wanting it? Or are we giving it to Jaira? Or
I'm just giving you the tools to help a very sick person. You've got 2 of them in your med bay. I'm not the doctor, you are. Figure it out.
Just inject it into fucking Comet and watch him come back from the dead.
Oh my
Where
god!
He is strapped down.
I'm going. Okay, correction. We've got 2 very sick people in the med bay that I give a fuck about.
Damn.
looks over to Carthen. Hey, do you want it?
With how much I've been getting beaten up lately, I think it probably wouldn't be the worst idea.
Great.
Maybe they'll even fix my stomach ulcers.
Is there like a patch on your arm that doesn't have cloth on it?
There's actually quite a few. He basically wears
Yeah, just
cloth
up on your
robes.
up on your bicep, you just see him pull out a little aerosol can disinfectant, and just pops you in the arm with it.
Alright, give me a medicinal check.
Nuh.
Medicine check. Good gracious.
Oh no!
Ooh!
Yes,
Oof.
yes.
So-
Hold on.
That's
Yeah.
an oof there, buddy.
Hold on.
Hold on. Alright.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Just
do I
rolls
have-
an attack.
No.
Rolls an attack.
No! I need to see if I have something that can. Fuck! I don't have that stupid thing Tyler has.
Oh my god. Okay, so, Timothy. You go ahead and, because of, your kind of... You are inexperienced with applying cybernetic augmentation, despite the fact that this is just, an injection-based tool. So, what you end up doing is you kind of just go in, you apply, you sterilize the area on his bicep, and just basically stab. You think you have his vein, you think you got it perfect. And then you see his armor start glowing. Can you give me a reflex save?
Timothy or Carthen?
Natural 20!
Beautiful.
So, what would end up happening... you would take... I would believe you would take no damage. So you see the armor, and as it starts to, eat away at the seat that Carthen is currently, being supported in, you quickly back away. You're like, nope, fuck that. His armor is actively, destroying the furniture that he is currently on.
as soon as
Stand up, you damn fool!
as soon as Carthan is able, like the armor will deactivate.
God, I believe that it only happens like over a 6-second period and then it's gone. So, narrowly avoiding getting your fur like singed off, what is the next step? You see that there is a syringe embedded in Carthan's arm.
Tim Tom goes over. I'm sorry. Please don't get mad. Did the injection go through?
There are several injections that you have to do. This is one of them, and the plunger is pushed halfway.
He gradually just takes it and very carefully
Carthan, you take 1 point of damage.
redoes it and then injects.
Oh,
Give me
man.
another medicine check.
I'm gonna goad the doctor a little bit as you are about to do this. I'm gonna say, it'll make it easier if you don't cross your eyes while you're doing this one.
God. The 29 is enough. You find several clear patches of skin in the arms, chest region, legs, and by the end of it, Carthan, you're starting to feel like a pincushion. However,
Nice.
once it is fully installed, let me transfer this from Ankos' inventory to yours. There you go. So, it is equipped, and I would describe the sensation, now that you are in pain, it almost feels itchy. Like there's something in your skin that is like causing your wounds to like almost itch more than they are in pain.
Hate that.
Are you feeling okay, Mr. Carthan?
Ants in my skin, and he's like he's twitching a little now.
Tim Tom stops when you say that. Is there a label on this, like a label on the bottle with a list of possible side effects?
Yeah, go ahead. You're just taking a look at the vial.
Yeah, see if there's a list of side effects.
There is a long list of side effects. However, like it's all in such tiny font that you have to bring up like a digital device to expand it with your camera just to get a good look at it. It lists a lot of different things that deal with like biochemical balance. However, itching in the skin is listed as a natural symptom of these things doing their work.
Okay, I imagine as Tim Tom's like reading through those, you just his eyes go from his face goes from this weird look of like, it's like whenever you hear one of those like weird heart attack preventative it's like when you're reading through an antidepressant symptoms list where it just keeps going and going, and Tim Tom's just concern, confusion. Okay.
Looking at your facial expressions, I'm gonna say you've never seen a fucking a symptoms list before?
Oh, I have. Just some of these can be extensive in improper circumstances.
I think puking his entire stomach out is also dangerous in improper circumstances. I think that we should probably take the benefit here.
True. Tim Tom starts plucking out needles out of him, just walking around, just pluck.
So, Carthan, do you want to try and use it?
Sure. I would like
Which feature would you like to use?
I would like to use the Fast Healing 2 feature.
Okay, so I imagine while they're all talking about the symptoms list, you were trying to get a handle on this, and it's just that itching is driving you insane. And you just eventually kind of give up. You realize that you're going to have to live with this now, and go to concentrate on it. And you feel like a shift or a change. The itching grows to be worse. But you almost have to take a second, because it's not that the itch itself is growing more intense, it's that your wounds are becoming hot. In fact, your skin is becoming hot to the touch. You all see what appears to be like the thin sweat that is kind of built up on his form begins to sizzle and boil away. The active needle marks on his skin, as well as his genuine complexion, deepens to a darker blue, as if it were becoming flush with the vital material. And Carthan, over the course of a minute, you gain 10 HP.
Nice.
That's pretty fucking cool, actually.
Well, that was interesting. That was my first cybernetic thingamahootsits I've ever done. So thank you for participating in my clinical trial.
Wait, that was the first time you... I mean, they were just injections. It couldn't have been that bad, right?
Ah, yes, so
You saw what
that,
happened the first time.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked like you must have, fucking downed a flask before taking that first injection. I could see your hand shaking.
It's been a wonderful and stressful couple of days.
Wonderful? I don't know where the fuck you're getting wonderful from.
Well, I made
Yeah,
a
I
new
guess.
friend. I made a really good new friend.
So I see
Where is our resident drow at the moment?
He currently is not in the bed bay, and you are fairly certain... I mean, the whole charm thing happened, what? Was it a day ago, or was it, last night?
It happened
was
like
2 days.
it was 2 days ago.
You know that he is currently taking a, pretty long rest.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just getting some good sleep, but he's a good guy.
Uh-huh.
I feel really bad for trying to shoot him. I don't know why I was so angry.
I don't know, because you're an impulsive idiot.
Well, I mean, true, but
Alright. So, what's next for the party?
Yar's just currently taking notes on the inventory he collected while on the asteroid.
I'm hoping
Okay.
Jaira regains consciousness soon.
Oh, it doesn't take you too terribly long. You're not, super beat up anymore, especially with the medical treatment. The smell of disinfectant and sterile, clean linen kind of brings you back to the fore.
Yeah, she sits up, just very slowly, kind of puts her, squeezes her temples with her fingers, pinches it, and just, all she does is just kind of groan, just oh, I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
there, you're awake.
Yeah, I'm awake. Oh.
Tim Tom comes over, hands you a small baggie with a couple little bottles of medication in it. Take as directed. Goes over to the same corner. Hears some glass jars rustling about. Pulls out a lollipop and hands it to her.
Oh my god. So wait, did he hand her a bottle?
A lollipop.
No, on the medication.
Yeah, he handed you some medication. Just
Like a bottle of it, or just raw pills?
Just
bottle,
opens
a
it
small
and
bottle.
eats it all.
Just a small bottle.
Okay. She's going to take the lollipop and just kind of look at it and go, "Thank you." Did I miss anything while I was out?
not really.
Looks over to the corner where the dissolved chair is.
Dissolved chair, and you can actually feel it. As if you were a spaced heater, there is a vague sensation of you know how a campfire, if you're far away from it, you can still feel
Yeah,
the
radiant heat.
Yeah, it's that radiant heat that's coming from Carthan.
Yeah.
Wish I had some marshmallows and a stick right now. I'd love to test something.
I take it he's
Boy,
okay.
I'm really surprised that the fire suppression system didn't go off.
It'd be fucked up if the sprinklers and the alarms just went off right now.
It's usually
Jaira
triggered
just-
by smoke than anything
Thank-
else.
Thank you for not using the Dark Urge, God.
I'm sure that it would have if I used the other feature of it.
Absolutely. Anyway. So, You all are chilling out in the med bay. Got anything else to do? Looks like there's not much to be busy with right now.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Okay.
Again, Yarich is taking inventory on the parts his robot collected
Oh,
for him.
speaking of the parts, Tyler, I would like you to go ahead and, if you are doing a organizational layover on all of the materials you collected, give me a skill that you think would be appropriate for that.
I think engineering, in my opinion.
Yeah, go for it. Throw me an engineering check.
Oh, no.
16? Nice.
No.
Oh, you're using your fucking memory module.
Yes. Yes,
Excellent.
I'm not taking that natural one. If it was anything other, I would have accepted it, but no.
Yarich uses fucking computer on something that matters. Challenge impossible.
Listen,
Okay.
I can't use it for combat. I can only use it for things like this.
What is going on with your goods section with all the field rations that are just taking up each a bulk? You've got a bajillion of them.
I have no idea how that happened.
Do you just want to give them to the ship and consider that the ship is well stocked if you guys ever need field rations?
Yes.
Okay, I'm deleting all of these. Okay, so I don't know where you want to write this down though. As you go over the vast list that your scavenging drone has collected, you find that it has collected an ensemble of 3,250 credits worth of crafting material.
Jesus.
That's not bad.
That's actually almost enough.
So if you want to dedicate that towards any project, it is a collection of UPB as well as other materials that necessitate the creation of technological items.
Alright, one thing I'm thinking about is, remember my old charging rifle?
Yes.
I am still working on upgrading that into its next form.
I see.
I'm going to donate 1,000 of it for that alone, and the rest is going to go into future plans for group projects, really.
Okay, how much was the upgrade?
Let me actually look up the upgrade, because I don't recall how
I
much.
would check it myself, but fucking Aeon SRD is being very slow for me right now.
Could you send me the link?
It is... I would say it's fine, but it really is just taking a bajillion years to look. There is the page. I don't know if it'll load faster for you.
I'm going to pin this real quick.
Okay, Infinity Rifle. You have the tactical version and you're wanting to upgrade to the next stage, right?
That's correct.
I believe that the next stage is the Advanced Laser Rifle, and comparing their price, there is... minus... a 4,800 credit difference.
Alright. But again, so... that'll bring it to 3,800. I'll mark that on my notes.
Okay,
On
yeah,
my
keep that in your notes.
So, what's the name of the next upgrade rifle?
It is Infinity Rifle Advanced.
Infinity Rifle. It'll go right under project.
Okay, cool. Alright,
So,
gents. You guys got anything else to do? Or are we good for, passing on the day?
I've got nothing else.
I would say you were pretty good at the moment.
I'm good for passing on.
Alright. So as the day passes, your long treatment, I believe Yarich was performing, you can try to give it another shot if you want to keep up on that.
3,800 credits left.
Do you want to keep doing long-term care?
I can, again, help with that for the other two. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Save. Let me get to.
Like I said, you can treat 6 patients, which I believe are all of the wounded people right now.
Right.
So go ahead and just give me the check. It is a
Medicine.
very high DC.
Yeah, medicine.
29. I will give it to you since you just almost barely beat the DC and you're not in a super stressful situation. Your patients will recover hit points at twice the normal rate. So, Kurthan and Jaira, I think Timothy. Timothy, are you still stressing out over your patient, or are you actually allowing yourself a moment of leniency?
He would. I mean, is he stable? Like,
He's
if
stable
Tim
for
Tom,
now, but his conditions are slowly declining just because of the
Yeah.
natural lack of resources.
Yeah.
Tim Tom at the moment would probably be, a little more lax, but he would be curious as to when we would be making Planetfall.
Yeah.
To get
Okay,
his
so
patient
you all
put
spend the
in,
night, I believe the 3rd night here, and those of you that are injured get back 10 HP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go.
Alright.
All right.
As you all wake up, it is to the sound of not necessarily a alarm, it is the crackling of the PA system and a voice coming over that sounds almost robotic. Will the Deathless please report to the bridge?
Oh,
Oh no, gotta go to the principal's office. Drag myself out of bed, get dressed, and leave.
same with Jaira.
So
Yeah.
how much total parts did I have? And seeing as I spent 1,000 on the parts, I'm
Well,
going to mark
how
that
much
down.
did you gather from the salvage again? I think it was 3,250, right?
3,000. Yeah, that sounds right. So I have 250,000 parts components.
Alrighty.
All right, just making sure I mark it down somewhere.
Fair enough. So you all navigate up to the bridge. I assume that, Timothy, are you staying behind or are you coming with?
I'll come up to the bridge, but I will have like alarms set, so
Yes.
if shit goes south, you can get to the med bay.
As you all navigate up the stairwell, kind of greeting each other the next day and all, you head up to Zacharias's little domain, and as you pass through, you can see him currently busy. He has a tablet currently held in his fingers. The slim glass-like material is positively glowing with information, and he is talking with a female subordinate member of the crew that you believe is the communications officer. The rest of the crew is kind of busy, hurriedly. Some of them look nervous.
Jaira.
Zacharias sees you all, his eyes kind of brighten just a little bit before he beckons you all over.
So, I'm gonna take it something's happening that we'd rather not be happening.
To be frank, I'm not certain quite what is happening, but Francis seems to think that it is bad.
Bad how? You found something?
He's gonna pass you the tablet.
Gonna look at the tablet. Do you need me to roll anything?
No
or-
checks. You're a detective. This is kind of your domain. You look over these readings. They are registers in vacuum energy, spatial anomalies. And you can see that in the Chevion system, which this is currently where you're at, a cluster of energy signatures have flared around the planet Astarte, which is where Castellum is. You immediately recognize this as the telltale signal that there is a cluster of what is essentially ships dropping out of the Echo. You don't have any accurate information because you are on the edge of the system in an asteroid belt. That's just kind of the information that you currently have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn around and say to the rest of the party, TLDR, big fucking fleets dropping outside of Castellum right now. We don't know who they belong.
Oh, well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's
Certainly
just a
not
little
great
concerning.
sign.
I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom.
Jaira looks around and just goes, "Has anyone seen our favorite tin can?"
Last time I saw him, he went into the room and never came out.
Somebody must have forgot to unplug him.
I'll go check on him. Right, heads off to check on 447. I'll wait for Levi to reiterate.
Just narrate it yourself.
I can't wait for your reach to come up with a reason why 447's not here.
447 was actually found in the church, in the ship's chapel, converting to Christianity.
What chapel?
Yarreach saw the face of 447 and lived.
Alright, Yarreach, you said that you're going to 447's room, right?
Yes.
Skitter over there at the speed of sound, and you're present at his door. You knock, I assume, and no one answers.
Open door.
I'm gonna give it a 50-50 chance that it's locked. Low is locked, high is unlocked. It's locked. You're gonna lockpick his door?
I am going to get on comms and say 447.
Nothing.
Forgive me. I'm going to open this. I'm going to use computers to bypass the lock.
If I ever have to beat my shit on this fucking shit, I'm gonna make sure I put a goddamn sign on the door or something. Yarreach is gonna lockpick my room.
This is an important thing. He wouldn't normally do this.
Yeah, you go for the door controls. You actually are familiar with the systems here, so it is not very hard to bypass the lock. These things are not meant to protect their crewmates as much as offer them privacy. The door slides open, and it is a pitch-dark little cubicle.
Right.
I believe that you actually have dark vision, so even as you flick open... Oh, you don't? Okay, anyway. You flick on the light, and, No, you absolutely have dark vision. I'm looking at it right now. You're a fucking moth.
Oh, do I? Alright.
Regardless, the bunks are both empty.
I am going to report this back. 447's missing in action.
He might be dusted.
Let's hope this is just the usual, oh no, I'm gone for a minute dusting, and not the aspect found out we've been poking around in her brain kind of dusting.
I feel like if that were the case, I or Carthan would be the ones that would be dusted right now.
Yeah, because you two are definitely not experiencing any type of negative side effects to what you've done. That's just sarcasm.
Jaira just kind of shrugs.
Yarreach quickly makes his way back to the bridge before...
As you were coming back and the rest of the crew is discussing 447's absence, Zacharias kind of offers and takes back the tablet a little bit. Francis says that we need to relay with one of the communications buoys on the edge of the system. Still within the asteroid belt, but we need up-to-date information before we make any drastic action.
Yeah? I'm just going to think. Is there any way to access any FTL comm systems in this area?
So the way that communications work in this setting is that they are based on, regular, traditional communications. There is no faster than light. Oh, I connect the whole of the galaxy together just at the drop of my fingers. Information travels slowly, and you are on the edge of a solar system.
Alright.
Raises his hand.
So, with that in mind, if we're already getting signals that there's been dropouts, we can probably try to decipher long-range code from that, but it's going to be very scattered. Like, long-range, maybe...
Like I said, what patchwork information we can collect from the edge of the system tells us that there are spikes in energy signatures, and based on our distance from the sun, he kind of looks over to his crewmate, not quite certain. Zacharias is still unfamiliar with, like, starship operations, and she quickly kind of reminds him about 3 hours, sir. So these appearances happened presumably 3 hours ago.
So I take it it's still some time before we would start getting alerts from the data and comm networks that are in this solar system?
I would assume that if we were to get any kind of fragmented signal, it would take us a matter of hours. However, if we relay with one of the communication buoys, we might possibly have a bit of an easier time getting more accurate reports.
Let's relay.
Alright.
Also, does this ship have any sort of, like, basically it's the equivalent of a telescope. I don't know what the fuck it is,
Periscope.
but kind of like a periscope, but something to, essentially a telescope, something you could zoom in.
It has cameras, yeah. I mean, there's nothing that's like, you don't have access to the Hubble Space Telescope on this dropship, but you do have access to optical sensors.
Okay, what about, like, radar or LiDAR systems?
Does radar even work in space?
Yeah,
it should.
It uses radio waves. LiDAR uses light waves.
Okay.
It's just light.
It's
all light.
It's just
that
with
being
radar,
said,
it would be double the time because your signal has to bounce off the target and come back to you.
Yeah, so tell me what you're trying to accomplish with radar.
We are probably using LiDAR right now to even...
Yeah, more LiDAR, because Tim Tom is a little concerned because he knows that the Draconis Dominion and the Syndicate are at war. His concerns are to see if, through any sort of passive sensor arrays, if Tim Tom might be able to identify potential Syndicate vessels in orbit.
So the issue with that, that you would know, is that once again, it's a method using light as a form of sensor. You are on the edge of a system, and although you can try to refine your results, there's a lot of space out there, and it's hard to be precise. And in addition, it would probably take around the realm of, what would it be, 6 hours to get back any results?
Fair enough. We'll have to wait anyway.
We are en route to the buoy now, yes?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Francis is already taking the Tempest Born and reeling her towards one of these stations. Shouldn't be too terribly long.
Well, it sounds like, unfortunately, we're going to have to more or less just wait to see this ourselves to really know what we're dealing with.
You can wait up here on the bridge if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
It's a bit of an awkward view, but, I mean, we're in space. It's all awkward views.
At the very least, if I'm going to die to a salvo of starship fire, I'd like to see it coming before I get greased.
Yarish is going to just gotta watch people do their work curiously.
Jaira's gonna kind of perk up. What kind of lifeboats does this vessel have?
Our dropship, still unnamed as of current, doesn't have any lifeboats. It's less a starship and more an entry vehicle. The Tempest Born, I believe, has escape pods. That being said, as you have noticed, he's gonna kind of like make mention and point out the bridge glass or whatever the fuck it is.
It's
some
probably
kind
more
of
of a
transparent
screen than
barrier. A screen, regardless. You can see that you currently almost look like you have landed on the Tempest Born, a sizable vessel, and are currently docked with it. Unfortunately, the Tempest Born doesn't have hangars big enough for our ship. So we're just having to catch a ride. Why are you concerned about something?
Well, if our vessel gets into critical condition, it's always nice to have an out. But I guess this vessel is sort of the out, if you think about it.
Yeah, sounds like our out's gonna be out there fucking floating around as a corpse in the void of space.
You could hop in the back of the war rig if it makes you feel any better.
They're just gonna find a truck floating
In
through the
space.
darkness of space loaded with corpses.
Yep.
The logo on the side.
Weird
Alright.
deathless.
So, handful of hours pass, and eventually the Tempest-born stops its G-force acceleration, and you all have to kind of like readjust to the new feeling. It seems that you've reached your target. What you guys would not hear is obviously the deck crew of the Tempest-born relaying with this station, and then by proxy allowing the dropship's computers to connect with it in tandem. What you all get is essentially a status ping. There is too much space between you and Castellum to enable like live one-to-one conversations to happen. However, these stations are essentially designed to transmit in the fastest method possible the most accurate, up-to-date information, and essentially transmit it by laser to these stations. The report comes in. Who wants to examine it? Zacharias will hang over your shoulder.
I'll do it,
Yeah.
I guess. Well, or Yar each can. I don't know. I mean, what's the
Yarge
primary
was going to
shot for
actually
this?
suggest ankles because he's more better at.
I would say, even though this is not a person, if you're trying to get a overall sense of the situation, trying to put together the big picture, I will enable you to use one of your detective skills, be it like perception or sense motive. Maybe honestly, if you want to put together like a collated report, you could do profession detective.
Yeah, you know what? How about that? Because that's my perception, my profession, and my motive are all the
Yeah.
same bonus. So fuck it.
Okay.
Sniff it out, gumshoe.
25. You're collecting all of this information, and what kind of puts together is honestly something that's not too far off what you were expecting. The attempted sabotages of the defense nexuses on the many cities of Castellum was evidently some sort of attempt to weaken their surface to orbital defenses as well as their satellite defensive stations. There is a actively hostile force that is currently enforcing a blockade and has defeated the defensive fleet of Castellum. As for their signatures and their affiliation, you have rolled so high that you actually put together and recognize this band. As you kind of like stitch together the thoughts in your mind, you recall the ghostly visions that you remember from the Perendor Keep. Rain, rain, rain. These are warships allied and dedicated to Anarchy's reign, essentially a traitorous tyrant from the Zavoth 3 system that enabled the collapse of Zavoth 3 and its defensive aspects. You guys encountered them on your way to this system. You managed to evade them.
Well, this is a group of people I hope to have never seen again. I'm going to relay this information, and I'm going to pay special attention to what Zacharias has to say about this, as this is a person I guess he kind of has a bit of history with, being that they're from his home system.
So, when he reads through these reports and you're kind of trying to break it down to him, his face just kind of goes pale and he puts a hand up to, like, the side of his head. I didn't think that our history would continue to haunt me. I had thought that by escaping Zavoth 3, those marauders and everything about my family would just disappear. It is evidently not the case. Carthen,
Yes.
Devin, as you are looking in and kind of gazing in as an outside observer, you witness a symbol on the tablet that is giving these up-to-date information that you recognize.
Hmm.
So, if you recall, as a part of your original reason why you were on Zeva 3, you were tracking down a renegade lord. And the symbol of this lord was a series of 3 intertwined serpents forming 3 different loops, the heads eating the tails of each one.
Correct.
That symbol is present on some of the scans and optical feeds from the patchworked report that the detective has put together. This fleet is serving that lord.
This is not good news.
You're telling me. What's our reinforcements look like? Do we have anybody else out beyond the wire that we can recall back to counterattack against the blockade? Is it just us and the Tempestborn out here right now?
Zacharias kind of like pans through the report, and you can see him kind of lean over to his command throne and hits a few buttons, and you can hear what appears to be a basically a call signal, the Skype thing going out. You're not certain who he's trying to call, but in the meantime, he's looking over this and just going, "Oh, it looks like the defensive fleet warding over at Castellum has been scattered to the wind. He's kind of panning over and giving it a brief sorting through. I didn't have much information, but this looks like quite a few ships. I wonder how much their strength has been compromised." He kind of turns over to you and just goes, "The rest of them should have scattered off into the system, and they're currently hiding. There's no point in a direct confrontation. They'd just be suicidal."
You're
What do you
just
think?
thinking, how can he...
Surely. Go ahead.
You're just thinking, is there a way to sabotage them like they sabotage us?
Speaking of the sabotage, something else that you picked together from your reports, Angos, is it looks like your direct, retaliatory attack on the defense nexus has enabled, about half of the stations to still be operational. So currently, right now, the Renegade fleet is dealing with the orbital defenses, and they were forming a blockade, in essence, around the system, around the moon.
So,
Is there some way we can capitalize on that?
This up to
I mean,
Jufon.
with the defenses up, our defense on the planet's going to be as strong as it's ever going to be.
so
Sure,
you're just going to go up and ask, I am not... Actually, how close... Would Yarich be able to tell how close someone can just phase into atmosphere using that one... Using the... whatever...
The Echo.
the
Oh
echo.
God.
Okay, so
God,
before
that's
that
a horrifying
happens, as
concept.
you're thinking, Zacharias kind of turns to you, and you can tell that his composure is starting to slip. Again, he's not a military commander; he's a noble. So he turns over to you, and he's just like, "I wish Francis would pick up the call." And he kind of clicks the button a few more times. I'm trying to stay calm. If the fleet's scattered, I don't know.
Can I roll
Maybe we
a
could
pers-
rally them?
could I roll some type of diplomacy check to steal his nerve?
Yeah, fucking give me it.
All right. I'm going to say it's fine. We haven't been completely broken yet. We can rendezvous and hit this again. We only lose if we give up.
Yarich is going to think, where are their other relay nodes? Likely.
Okay, so now that we've had that conversation, let's do Tyler's thing. So, Tyler, if you're trying to determine that, give me an engineering check. This one's gonna be really fucking easy.
Alright.
You know that, raw portals into the Echo do not interact well with atmosphere. In fact, there are numerous reports of hotshot captains trying to make especially dangerous runs to a planet's surface only to wind up with their crew of like hundreds of people just being obliterated.
Alright. No hot shot run.
There is a safety point on all planets that enable like safe echo translation, and going below that is essentially kind of like a coin flip of whether or not you remain yourself or, scattered pieces of yourself.
Yeah. Yarj is going to quickly drop that idea.
So, as you kind of go in and try to reassure Zacharias, you can see his shoulders are kind of shaking. Do you, put out a hand and just kind of, try to steady him while you're doing this?
Yeah, I'm just gonna rest a hand on his shoulder in a very, as firm as I can without being any type of aggressive or way that could potentially, make him jumpy. He's,
You see him kind of slacken just a little bit, and he lets out a breath of air. I, never was one for military efforts, and to be honest, what we went through at the, station nearly had me shocked to my bones. Hopefully this'll get better. Okay, why isn't Francis picking up? And he goes over and switches the call.
He's probably very inundated with calls from the remains of the fleet. I imagine he's getting every single captain in this fleet is probably experiencing something very similar to what you are right now.
So eventually, as Zacharias switches up the call, a relay is opened to the communications officer instead. There is a well-kept, short, brown-haired man that shows up on the communication feed. He simply goes, hello, our companions for this journey. The captain is currently busy tending to his wounds, as well as intercepting and relaying and is essentially tending to the organizational efforts. If you wish, you can come visit him directly on the starship, or else I can feel free to try and answer any of your questions here.
Yarj is messing with his tablet, trying to figure out a way that he could use this relay state, create a coordinated false attack with the relay stations to broadcast false information to the attacking ships.
So, just to break that down, you're thinking that you want to what? You're wanting to create a rallying signal here?
Not a rallying signal, a false one that tricks the... I want to use the different relay stations along the system.
Do you want to make a fake signal to try and split their fleet?
Yes.
Ooh.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Who are you? Are you just trying to determine whether or not it's possible?
Right now, yes.
Okay, so I would say give me a sense motive check and give me a engineering check.
Okay. If we can drive their fleets apart, then we'll make it easier than having to fight the entire bulk. Question is, what the hell do we want to give them as a target?
27. It is absolutely possible to use these relay stations to create fake ghost signals to draw in, ships. However, with your sense motive check, you also... Yeah, okay, so I will explain this to the rest of you all. These are military commanders. They're not just going to see a ghost signal in the middle of space and dedicate all their forces into one concise attack that just allows them to be swept over. If they're sending things out, they need verifiable information, and they are likely to send out scouts or interceptors.
What if... This is an absolute crackpot idea, and I have no confidence it would work. What if we intentionally catch some of their scouts, a small fleet that we can ambush, board them, and try and return back to the main fleet? as some type of and try to cause some problems from within. Maybe find out if there's a central
Trojan
command
horse
ship.
operation.
Yeah.
So,
board their vessels and see if we can hurt them from the inside.
the communications officer is giving you kind of like a bit of a smile, as if he's like almost listening to one of his superior officers come up with a scheme. Zacharias kind of looks a bit nervous, but he's been calmed by you. So he's just like, okay, so your Trojan horse idea, intercepting and boarding, right? That would require a crew. Now, what do we do once we have the Trojan horse?
Well, if we can get one of their vessels, then that means we can breach their communications. We can hear their comms. That would be a little bit of something that could help us. It's always good to know what your enemies are thinking.
A step in the right direction, yes.
So, at the very least, we could break their commsec. Secondarily, if we could manage to convince the enemy fleet that their scouting party has not been compromised, and we actually return to their main fleet, what's the military structure of these offensive fleets? Do they have a command vessel, or is every vessel more or less capable of autonomy?
So I will say, I'm trying to think. I think culture is probably the best thing to use here, so go ahead and make me a culture roll.
I can do that. Give me 1
I
second
will
here.
allow Zacharias to help you because he is also well studied.
Oof. Bad roll. Bad roll.
So his assistance will give you a +4 to make that a 20. So in terms of basic military structure, if they see that relay signal and you are disguising it as essentially a rallying point, the commanders will probably assume that it is first and foremost a trap. They will send out, say that they will probably dispatch a handful of ships. They are not going to leave Castellum unoccupied, because what essentially they have done, according to your reports, is they have compromised orbital security, they have scattered the fleets, and they need to make sure that they retain control of this planet. So they aren't going to send all of their guys over to the relay beacon.
Right.
What else were you asking?
I was more or less asking, should we find a way to infiltrate the core fleet by hijacking one of their scouts? Is there a singular target that we could go after that would severely dampen their combat power in a way that matters?
Yeah, when it comes to Dominion fleets especially, Syndicate fleets love to trip people up by making their flagships inconspicuous as hell. They like to blend them into the main force and a bunch of smaller ships. The Dominion have royal titles to attend to, a bit of grandioseness to their senses. So you get the sense that if there's a flagship, it's probably pretty big, pretty noteworthy. There likely is a designated central command ship that has some kind of authority over the rest of the fleet. Does that answer your question?
It does. Maybe if we were to find a way to infiltrate that command ship,
Tim
using
Tom
one of their
raises his
captured
hand.
scouts, we could severely hamper their combat ability and sow confusion. Then whatever remaining forces for the Castellum defense fleet are around, if we can find some type of way to rally them and compose an actual counterattack, maybe we could break them apart.
The communications officer kind of comes back in and adds into your thing. We would have to find a way to do so discreetly. From what I've understood from my superiors speaking, there is a danger in broadcasting. Of course, they will send people to intercept and destroy fleets before they can reorganize. However, if we can get a combined arms front and gather all of our ships, I'm sorry, I'm not necessarily a planning person, but this is definitely starting to sound better. You might have to pitch this to Francis once you're able to meet with him again.
Yeah, you're just going to go over to the net ship.
It could also be a moot point. He might already have a better idea, but at least I'm not going to come up to him empty-handed, I guess.
Tim Tom
This plan
raises up his hand.
also
plan relies on a lot of things going well that are most likely not going to go well.
What if we do the whole classic thing and we want to get rid of their command ship, right? What if we sabotage an echo drive? Fly it close to it, set it off, send that ship and anything around it into oblivion.
Well, we're going to have some type of way to escape this ship successfully, but...
Tim Tom pats the armchair. We have a ship.
Yeah, and we're also going to be in the heart of an enemy fleet, too.
Well,
Carrying, presumably, what would be at best an unshielded echo drive.
we also aren't here. We're also not going to be on the ship when it gets in there. You set it to you set it like an autopilot.
So you're
Wait, so are you trying to say that we should
the
turn
drop ship one way as a
No.
bomb?
No, I'm saying
Zacharias kind of puts both of his hands up and goes, List, I need to remind you, the dropship does not have an echo drive.
No, I'm not saying the echo drive. Tim Tom's basically taking the idea of the Trojan horse. If we can get a hold of a echo-capable vessel, we can return back to the fleet, basically set it on autopilot to return back to the fleet, and once it's in position, just blow it the fuck up.
Can an echo drive be configured to function that way? Is that a thing that can
You
happen?
can set something up next to the echo drive at least.
If you want to make an engineering check, you can, Ankos.
Ooh, it is
Can
actually
I,
like my worst skill.
Oh well.
I got a plus 10.
Six.
Can I
You're
do
not
a
sure. You're
engineering
asking
check?
other people. Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody else that wants to.
24.
So, you know that there are technical measures that allow echo drives to be used as weapons. The problem with that, and I will demand a culture check to identify exactly what is the issue with that. It is essentially a history. There are only a handful. Yes. I will allow Angos to kind of substitute in and allow you to get, like, really nitty-gritty. The issue with using echo drives as weapons is that there is no telling what is going to happen. There are instances in history where captains trying best to, like, put in their last strike before they go down overload their echo drives and sacrifice hundreds of crew, only to make their situation so much worse. The echo is essentially a slip and slide to different locations and different periods of time, and there is no telling exactly what might come out of it. There is one terrifying story of just that happening with a captain just going in for one sacrifice, only for that echo anomaly to turn into a portal to Infernus.
Gonna pipe up to say we are absolutely not going to be setting off an echo drive anywhere near the planet, or ever at all. Bad ideas. Table it.
It works, but, like, it can create problems that are much, much worse than what you're dealing with right now.
Right. My big womp is just to take over said command ship, or at least try to fucking...
Well,
like, if we can, like I said, this is all assuming a lot of things go well. This is assuming that we managed to do a lot of very difficult shit. But if we were able to get on that command ship with a level of, like, anonymity, maybe with some enemy uniforms, find the bridge and clear it out, surely it couldn't be that hard to, either A, take the ship's weapon systems away from it, B, breach comms, or C, just ram it into the fucking rest of the fleet.
what about, could we overload the reactors? Would Gyro know this?
That's the same thing, basically. You're giving another flavor of the echo core detonation.
One was overriding the fucking
So the
Not
echo
the
drive. This is overriding the fucking power plant, which
So
we
the
kind of did on the
things-
space station.
The things with that is that, like, they definitely can work, but in terms of, like, just trying to destroy a ship, works just fine. But overloading a reactor in terms of like Trojan horsing and trying to get in and like trying to push the ship next to the bigger ship that you're trying to get rid of and use its reactor to blow it up, it's just not sizable enough. You're better off just using conventional weapons.
And Jair would know this.
Yes, that's something that's very simple to figure out. Those reactors contain enough explosive power to destroy and rend a ship into, but it isn't like... You would be better off just ramming a ship into it.
Jair just kind of shakes her head at her own idea. No, a kinetic impact with the ship would be better.
I don't know. I'm sure that oh my fucking god! I'm drawing a blank on the name of the commander of the main vessel that we're attached to.
Francis.
I'm sure Francis is probably the best, tactician of all of us. He probably has an idea, or could tell us in better detail why ours are so stupid.
In that case, I will go ahead and do my best to get a meeting with him.
Thank you.
Just give me a few minutes. I'm going to get some arrangements, and hopefully either he will come to you or you will go to him.
Yarj is already on his way to him.
Places the Veed on pause for the moment. And yeah, Yarich has disappeared. He's entered the hangar bay and is currently going for the airlock.
Well, I'll let the goofy little moth,
Who's
just going to be
sent himself out into space.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until the receptionist tells me what the commander actually intends to do, instead of just assuming.
So, Yarich, you head through the airlock and go through the exchanging mating port between the ships. And as soon as you come out the other side, there are 2 guards that apprehend you. They are both in pretty decent kit. They've both got rifles, and they don't necessarily grab you, but they immediately make mention that, you are not allowed to just walk around on a key ship that you're linked to.
Just then.
They kind of, politely turn you around.
Yarj just goes back to the door.
After a couple of minutes, the communications officer comes back on screen and says, "Okay, you are being granted permission to transfer aboard the Tempest-born and speak with our commander, or captain."
Thank you very much. My party size will consist of myself, and I'm gonna 1, 2, 3. All of these guys behind me.
You see that just as Yarich is clambering in.
And I guess the bug.
Very well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
And then we're gonna go the same route as Yarich did, except this time not getting told, sorry, you're not tall enough to get into the ball pit.
Yeah, as soon as the airlock doors open, there is a group of 4 armed individuals that are already waiting for you and are ready to escort you to the medbay.
Very nice.
You all transfer over. The interior of the Tempest-born is honestly pretty nice. There's a lot of damage here, considering that they were in a nuclear slugging match. There are exposed panels, there are engineers everywhere, sparking equipment, opened up maintenance panels, just kind of taking out components, generally trying to get the Tempest-born back into fighting shape. You are led through these areas onto a small tramway, and then loaded into the medbay. As you pass through into the sterile, white environment, you see Draconis Dominion doctors currently tending to a wounded captain. He is lying down on a bed, and he's got several holographic displays that are suspended around him, and he is currently poking a finger through them and just kind of brushing through, occasionally putting a hand over to his ear. And then he looks over and sees you all with half-lidded eyes, and gives you a quick brushing over motion.
I'm gonna, approach him and say, no rest for the wicked, huh?
Yes, I thought that I was fine. Turns internal bleeding caught up with me.
Well, I'd like to say rest up and get better, but we're not out of the woods yet. How much of
Unfortunately
the
not.
How much of the situation on Castellum have you been caught up on?
I am likely as aware as you are. We did feed you the exact same reports. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that we're going to have to potentially counterattack against a superior force with an inferior force that's already seen battle damage. But,
It kind of gives you a couple of curtain nods.
I have been thinking of a crackpot plan that either might potentially turn the tide in our favor or get a couple of our people killed, if you'd like to hear it.
He kind of like squints his eyes, but before you say that, I should probably inform you as to my current plans. Right now, we are not capable of taking on a fleet of that size and armament. Even if we reunited the defensive fleet, a straight-on attack will not cut it. We fought those renegade ships before. They are the same class as our own. They know our tactics. They know our weaknesses. My plans were to evacuate the Chevion system and head for the battle in the Zavoth system, trying to regather some of our King's reinforcements to come back with a larger force. But if you have a plan, I'll hear it.
Like I said, I don't know if this could tip the battle towards us, but I don't know if it'll be enough to actually make it matter. But our engineer has been thinking of maybe trying to find a way to compromise their fleet. If we can use a fake signal to draw out a scouting party or some amount of their vessels, maybe we could see about trying to launch a boarding action, capture some of their ships, break open their comsec, and maybe, if we're so bold and if they don't catch on to this, we could even try to potentially infiltrate their flagship and take it down from the inside out. Do you think that would cause enough chaos within their ranks to matter?
A faint smile blooms across his face. Don't... Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. You're reminding me of a distant memory. A younger me would have thought of a plan like that. I have to admit, I like the idea. Ow. You can see he clutches his chest, and one of the doctors comes over and, doesn't look upset, but just kind of warns you, please do not make the captain laugh right now. He has 2 broken ribs.
Hands up. Sorry.
It's nothing. Whenever we were engaged with the stealth vessel, I may have risked my own health for the safety of my crewmates. I saw one of their seatbelts snap, their safety restraints, and I couldn't risk seeing them hurt. Anyway.
It's a decision not many captains I've ever known would make.
The reason that I became a captain is to protect this space and its people, and to watch someone be hurt in front of me and do nothing about it. That just seems cowardly, weak. I was feeling much the same way about our retreats. If you, personally, you all are far more equipped of our soldiers. If you think that you can commit to a boarding action and seize one of the Renegade's vessels, that could potentially turn the tide.
If nothing else, and here's another crazy idea. The Renegade factions function off of an almost, a royal system for command. There's going to be a very obvious top dog inside of that vessel. Wouldn't it be funny if we kidnapped him?
His eyes kind of widen. Did you know the full story of the war 60 years ago between the Syndicate and the Draconis Dominion?
I've heard bits and pieces of it.
A bit.
They say House Beldor would have won that conflict were it not for a traitor deep within their ranks. Her title is Anarchy's Reign, and from what I've been made aware of, she is likely one of, if not the most dangerous criminal in Dominion space. I understand that you all are In terms of infantry combat, superior to our own troops. But if you go up against Rain...
We probably shouldn't
Please
even attempt to
be
pull
careful.
punches. Yeah, I figured as much.
Regardless, I like your plan. If I'm able to, I would love to join you at the bridge and help you with this boarding effort. Unfortunately, I believe that I may have to leave these operations to my chief mate. That being said, if you wish to explain the plan to her, I am certain she'll be in full agreement. None of us want to leave our home behind.
Alright, I'll do just that then. I'll consider this as having your vote.
And kind of gives you a curt nod. Many of our crew are injured currently, and the Tempest Born is still in a shaky position. We can't afford to rally with other vessels without drawing their attention, but with your false beacons, perhaps we can draw the lure of 1 or 2 ships.
Honestly,
Sarge is currently just trying a program to set up the false program.
the fewer vessels they send after us, the more likely that we can jump them and take out the excess without getting caught.
He puts a hand on his earbud and says curtly, Vanesca. And you hear some kind of whispered reply back. I'm sending a party of individuals. You've already met them. They have a plan. And he puts his hand down and looks over at the rest of you. I wish you luck, and may you wish me fast recovery. I don't want to sit out in this fight.
It'll either be a glorious show or a massive comedy. We'll see which one.
He would offer a hand, but as soon as he does so, the doctor, gently puts it down.
Alright. I'm just gonna, toss behind a quick get well soon and then leave to go find the officer. I'm about to have to also leave, actually, for a few minutes to go do that stupid 6:30 formation. But,
Gotcha.
I've
That's
got,
at 6:30. I assume that you want to leave before 6:30?
I want to be there at least 10 minutes early, so here in about, 10 minutes, I'm gonna have to stand up to go.
Okay, I gotcha. If we need to take a break, then feel free to.
Why not
Yeah.
take a break now?
How are we feeling about that?
A quick little 20-something minute recess.
Yeah, I'm
A
fine.
little
Gotcha.
break as a treat.
All right.
So, I didn't ask a single one of you if you would actually be okay with doing this opening action. How are we feeling?
I'm
Keep in mind,
down.
you guys have
I'm
boarded
down for
a
it.
station. You
I
have
did-
not boarded a starship.
I just kind of assumed that everyone's gung-ho for whatever the most insane plan is at a given time, and right now it's this one, so...
Jair
I'm
turns and
pretty
looks
down
and
for
just
it.
goes, I would prefer boarding action to space combat. Space makes me nervous, and as much as I hide it usually, I'd rather not be in the line of fire. Besides, I missed all the fun last time, so...
Oh, there's gonna be a lot of fun this time.
Karth is just going to kind of beam a little. I love space.
Ominous, thank you.
Awesome. All right,
Oh,
so we're
boy.
going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pause the recording, Lane.
On it.
All right, so to give you all kind of an update, we are essentially calling it to a close. A lot of us have real-life issues to tend to, and unfortunately, if we continued it, we'd only get at most 20 to 30 minutes. And then after that, we'd be missing critical party members for a combat scenario. So we're just going to go ahead and call it short here. I'm sorry for a short session, but, I mean, if it was my choice, I'd go longer. I'll see you next week. Bye.